Hello friends, welcome to our YouTube channel Basics of Physics. Myself Professor Ravikiran Latte. Welcome you all for the today's lecture. In our today's lecture we will be discussing hydrogen atom, its solution and implication leading to quantum number. Basically four quantum numbers we will be discussing in our today's lecture. These are nothing but the principal quantum number, orbital quantum number, magnetic quantum number and spin quantum number. So let us start with our today's session with the revision of hydrogen atom solution, which will lead to the four quantum numbers. In the first part of our today's lecture, we will be discussing the hydrogen atom solution and its implication. So all of us know that quantum mechanically we had seen the hydrogen atom is nothing but it is consisting of a positively charged region, and this positively charged region it is covered with a cloud of negatively charged electrons. So in order to apply the Schrodinger equation, we have considered the concept of reduced mass and we have implemented it in the form of mu is equal to mm upon m plus capital M, where small m is the mass of the electron, which is shown in this figure. Capital M is the mass of the nucleus, which is positively charged and located at the center of the atom. Okay, so though in this picture I have shown you an electron with a point particle, but quantum mechanically it is not a particle in nature. It's having a certain probability distribution, which we will be discussing in terms of Schrodinger equation. We have solved the Schrodinger equation for the quantum treatment with the help of a Coulomb potential which exists between the negatively charged electron and the positively charged proton, which is located at the center of the atom, that is nothing but the nucleus. So this Coulomb potential it is given by minus ZE square upon 4 pi epsilon r, and we have substituted this potential in terms of spherical polar coordinate system in Schrodinger equation, which is given over here, and we have formulated its solution in terms of psi, r, theta and phi, basically, which is nothing but it consists of three parts. One is the radial part, another is theta part, and third one is phi part. So if you consider the solution of the hydrogen atom, it consists of solving a three ordinary differential equation. One is in terms of r, another is in terms of theta, and the last one is in terms of phi. So first of all, we'll see what are the solutions which we have derived in our earlier lecture. The acceptable solution to the first equation which we get after applying the method of separation of variable, that is nothing but the d2 phi by d phi square is equal to minus ml square phi. That was the first equation which we have separated, and its solution we got in terms of phi of ml e to the power ml phi. That was a solution, and this solution imposed a restriction on this constant value of ml, that is nothing but the ml can take values from 0, 1, 2, 3, that is absolute values of ml can be 0, 1, 2, 3, means it can be positive as well as negative including 0. Second equation, that was nothing but it was theta part, which has the form minus 1 upon sine theta d theta by d theta of sine theta d theta by d theta plus ml square theta upon sine square theta is equal to L into L plus theta. Its acceptable solution can be written in terms of this one. This solution consists of a polynomials in terms of cos theta. So this treatment it is given in the appendix of our regular textbooks, quantum physics by Iceberg and Resnick. You can follow the appendix M and N in order to get the exact solution in terms of this polynomial, but I'll recommend you people, it is beyond the scope of our today's lecture, so we'll not be discussing that in this slide. If you consider the acceptable solution of the theta part, then it imposes a condition on the L, which is in terms of ml, means the constant which we have equated with the right hand side of this equation, that is L into L plus 1 theta, that impose a condition on this one that L can take value of mod of ml with 1 mod of ml plus 1, mod of ml plus 2, mod of ml plus 3, and so on. So from this one you can say that phi part can impose a condition on ml, theta part impose a condition on L. So now we will see in the next slide what is the solution of the radial part. If you solve the radial part, which is nothing but the 1 upon r square, this equation is given over here. If you solve this equation, you will get an acceptable solution in terms of n and L. Okay, this is a solution in terms of n and L, which imposes a condition which is given over here. N is equal to L plus 1, L plus 3, L plus 2, L plus 3, and so on. And its energy eigenvalues which we have derived, that is nothing but the minus mu z square e raised to 4 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 bracket square 2 h cross square n square, which we have further simplified in our earlier lecture, which is coming out to be minus 13.6 upon n square electron volt. In this solution, if you consider this A0, that is called as a Bohr radius, ground state Bohr radius, G and L Zr upon A0, these are nothing but the polynomial in terms of Zr upon n A0. I will not be going into the detail of this one, but just I want to tell you is that this value or the acceptable solution for the radial part, it depends upon the quantum these numbers n and L. Now, and with this condition, n is equal to L plus 1, L plus 2, L plus 3, and so on. That was the third condition which we have derived from the Schrodinger equation. Now, we had seen that hydrogen atom consists of three solutions in terms of R, theta, and phi. So these three solutions, it leads to three restrictions. We all of us know that in any physical problem, it is the degree of freedom which matters a lot while solving any physical equation. What are degree of freedom? Degree of freedom is nothing but the number of independent variables required to specify the state of a given system. In case of an hydrogen atom, it is an R, theta, and phi. It is an R, theta, and phi, which leads to the three restrictions in terms of N, in terms of L, and in terms of ML. So basically 3 degrees of freedom puts 3 restrictions on the solution in terms of L, N, L, and ML. So these restrictions are nothing but the quantum numbers which we are using in from our earlier classes as well. Okay, from your lower high school classes, you people might be using this one. What is quantum numbers? You might have used it in terms of in order to write the electron configuration of the various atoms. Okay, so these restrictions are nothing but it is a product of applying the Schrodinger equation to the hydrogen atom, and these 3 degrees of freedom in terms of R, theta, and phi, it imposes conditions in terms of N, L, and ML. It imposes a condition in terms of N, L, and ML. These restrictions are nothing but the quantum numbers. Now we will try to calculate what are the wave functions are there based on these restrictions for these atoms. So in terms of N, ML, and L, we'll be writing some of the wave functions of an hydrogen atom. For example, for the ground state in which N is equal to 1, so corresponding value of L will be 0 and corresponding value of ML will be 0. So ground state wave function of the hydrogen atom, it is given over here. So it is psi of 100, it is equal to 1 upon root pi z upon a0 to the power 3 by 2 into e to the power minus zr upon a0. That is a ground state wave function of an hydrogen atom. The first excited state hydrogen atom, that is its wave function, that is for n is equal to 2, for which you can have L is equal to 0 and ML is equal to 0. So its first excited ground state wave function, it will be first excited state wave function, it will be psi 200. It will be 1 upon 4 under root 2 pi z upon a0 to the power 3 by 2 into z minus zr upon a naught e to the power zr minus zr upon 2a naught. Similarly, you can calculate the different wave functions in terms of various quantum numbers. For example, n equal to 2, you will have L is equal to 1 and ML is equal to 0. So you will get these kinds of a different wave functions based on the different values of n, L, m, ml. So these are nothing but the psi 210, psi 11 plus or minus 1, psi 300. I request all you people not to memorize these wave functions. You just have to remember the first ground state wave function which is given over here. In the most of the competitive exams, you will get these wave functions, except the ground state wave function, it will be given in the various examination. So you just have to remember the first wave function, which is psi 100. In some textbook, instead of these wave functions may be written in some different form. Sometimes wave function is expressed in terms of this radial part and angular part. This angular part theta and phi, it will be combined to give a YLML part, that is we call it as an angular wave function, and this R and L, that is called as a radial wave function. This is nothing but it is just a separate part of the radial part and the angular part. If you take a product of this radial part and the angular part, you will get a complete wave function that will be nothing but the psi. So in the first case, if you consider the value of n is equal to 1, corresponding value of L will be 0 and corresponding value of ML, it will be 0. So your first wave function, it will be psi 100. That will be the first ground state wave function. For the second, if you consider, it will be psi 20. That will be x, y and z. Depending upon the what are the values of L, you can have the different values of ML. If it is L is equal to 0, ML can have 0 value. If L is equal to 1, then ML can have a value minus L plus L including 0. So that is nothing but the px orbital, py orbital and pz orbital, which we are using in our regular lower classes. We have used this in the your lower classes or high school physics. Okay, so you can calculate the different wave functions considering the radial and the angular wave function. This slide I am just giving you for your information purpose, because in some books these wave functions, it will be written in terms of the radial part and the angular part. In that, the total wave functions, it will be taken as a product of the radial part and the angular part. Now we had seen that this number of coordinates required for a description of a physical system, that we call it as a degree of freedom. Here in this case, it is the r, theta and phi which is required to specify the state of an electron in a hydrogen atom, and this leads to a restriction in terms of n, L and ml. These restrictions are nothing but the quantum numbers which are resulting from the solution of an hydrogen atom with the help of an Schrodinger equations. So quantum numbers are nothing but these are the numbers allocated to all the electrons in an atom. They describe the certain characteristics of an electron. For example, n, it describes in which orbit electron is there. Okay, L define the shape of the orbit. Okay, shape of the orbitals. Okay, in this way will be considering these characteristics of these restrictions are nothing but the quantum number. The characteristic of orbitals are used to define the state of an electron completely. In order to specify the state of an electron, we'll be requiring these 4 quantum numbers. The last quantum number, spin quantum number, it has some different origin which we'll be discussing in the end part of our today's lecture. So what are these limitations? These limitations are expressed in terms of these numbers. What are these numbers? The first number is called as the principal quantum number, which is represented by the n, which we get while solving the radial part of the hydrogen atom. Second one is the orbital quantum number, which is denoted by the L, which we get with the as a restriction from the theta part, and the magnetic quantum number which is represented by the ml, which is nothing but the restriction obtained due to the solving a phi part in the solution. And in the last we will be discussing, that is the spin quantum number, which has a different origin, but that also we will be discussing because it comes under the heading quantum number. So these 4 quantum numbers are required to specify the state of any atom or any electron inside an atom. Okay, so consider these quantum numbers in detail one by one. The first quantum number it is there, that is the principal quantum number. What is this principal quantum number is there? Principal quantum number can take a value from 1, 2, 3 and so on. Okay, so if you consider, depending upon the values of principal quantum number, you have a different orbit. For example, for n equal to 1 you have a k orbit, n equal to 2 you have a k l orbit, n equal to 3 you have a m orbit, and so on. Basically, the quantum number describes the energy of an atom, energy of an electron, and most probable its distance from nucleus. That is, it tells us how far is the electron from nucleus is there. For your better understanding, just consider this animation. Consider this is a nucleus. Around the nucleus we have an orbit. Let us say this is n is equal to 1, that is a first orbit. Then n equal to 2, that is a second orbit. Then n equal to 3, that is a third orbit, and so on. You have such a kind of orbits are there. So these n equal to 1, n equal to 2, n equal to 3, n equal to 4, these are nothing but these are different orbits are there, or shells you can say in terms of semi-classical language. Okay, these shells are identified with this number, okay, and which describes the energy of this electron. As you move away from the nucleus, the energy of the electron goes on increasing. Now, quantum number L, it describes the shape of the orbital. That is a second quantum number which we get from the solution of the theta part of the hydrogen atom Schrodinger equation. Okay, and this is called as the orbital quantum number because this quantum number is related to the orbital motion of an electron. It is semi-classically, it is assumed that electron revolves around the nucleus, so it has a motion around the nucleus. So due to that one, it possesses a orbital angular momentum, which is associated with this orbital angular momentum. This quantum number is there, that is called as a orbital quantum number. It is denoted by the letter L, and it can take a values from 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on up to n minus 1. Means for a given principal quantum number there will be n orbital quantum numbers will be there. Its value will start from 0 to n minus 1. So we'll calculate some of the quantum orbital quantum numbers. For example, for n is equal to 1, for example n equal to 1, if you consider, as L can take values from 0 to n minus 1, as value of n it is 1, so 1 minus 1 will be 0, so value of L it will be 0. So name of the orbital, that is be S orbital, and which is spherical in shape. In this diagram or in this figure you can see the shape of this orbital, it is spherical in nature. If you consider the second orbit, that is nothing but the n equal to 2, that is L shell. For this n equal to 2, the possible values of the orbital and quantum number, that is 0 to n minus 1, that is 2 minus 1, it will be 1. So it is 0, 1. These are the possible values of the orbital quantum number, and these are nothing but the associated with these two values of L, that is L equal to 0 corresponds to S orbit, L equal to 1 corresponds to P orbit. Okay, so for a given second shell there will be two suborbitals will be there. One is S orbital and P orbital will be there. The P orbital you can see from this one, it is a dumbbell shape. Okay, it can have a 3 orientations depending upon the what are the values of magnetic quantum number, which we will be discussing in the next slide. For example, for the if you consider the next principal quantum number n equal to 3, the possible values of the L it will be 0, 1, 2. So corresponding to L equal to 0, the orbital will be s orbital. L equal to 1, that will be p orbital. L equal to 2 corresponds to d orbital. And same you can calculate for the for which value of L will be from 0 to 3, and the different orbitals will be s, p, d and f orbitals will be there. Now this is all about the orbital quantum number. Now if you consider how do we get this orbital quantum number or from this principal quantum number, this orbital quantum number or spin quantum this principal quantum number, these are nothing but the, if you consider, these are the angular parts which is showing the 1s orbital, 2s orbital and 3s orbital. If you plot the radial part of this one, you can see for n is equal to 1 and L is equal to 0, that is 1s orbital. If you consider the plot, it will be like this. The plot, it will be like this. It gives you the probability of finding the electron at this distance. This probability, it will be maximum of finding the electron in this region, and the shape of this region, it will be like this. So it is an orbital, and its maximum probability of finding the electron within this region, it will be maximum at this point, which we call it as an, this maximum we call it as an Bohr radius. If you further calculate the similar kind of a quantities for the higher excited state, that is n is equal to 2, L is equal to 0, you'll get such a kind of plots. So it is the maximum probability region where you can have the maximum probability of finding the electron in the second state, okay, or the first excited state. If you similarly calculate for the third state, or that is the second excited state, you'll get a maximum probability of finding the electron in this region. It will be maximum, that will be the average region. So at this point you'll get a maximum probability, and at this point you'll get the average radius at which electron can be found. So this, you can say that this is a expectation value which you calculate in terms of quantum mechanics wave function. In our coming lecture, we will consider some of the mostly asked competitive exams questions. For example, what is the expectation value of the hydrogen atom in the ground state or the first excited state. We will discuss these questions in our coming lectures. Now the next quantum number is there, that is nothing but it is called as the magnetic quantum number. What is magnetic quantum number is there? It is a the magnetic quantum number which is denoted by the letter ml. It is related to the direction of electron. Okay, so it is related to the direction of the orbital angular momentum, which can differently take 2l plus 1 values. Okay, so for a given value of n, we know that we can have a certain value of l. For a given value of l, you can have a certain different values of ml, and which can take values from minus l to plus l, including 0 as well. Okay, so for a given value of l, ml can take values from minus l to plus l, okay, including 0. So if you consider, there will be 2l plus values will be there for a given value of l. So for example, consider for n equal to 2, that is a second principal quantum number, that is the first excited state of an hydrogen atom. Value of l we can calculate from the formalism that L can take values from 0 to n minus 1. So if for n equal to 2, 2 minus 1, it will give you the 1. So possible values of L, it will be 0, 1. So from this one, if you consider the values of ml, which can take values from minus L to plus L, including 0. For L is equal to 0, ml can have 0 value. And for L equal to 1, ml can have ml equal to minus 1, 0 and plus 1. So these are the different values of the ml. Means for a given state, you can, for a given principal quantum number n, you have a orbital quantum number L, and for a given orbital quantum number you have a magnetic quantum number. We will try to calculate these quantum numbers for few orbits. For with the condition that n can take values from 1, 2, 3 and so on. L can take values from 1, 0, 1, 2 and so on up to n minus 1, and ml can take values from minus L to plus L including 0. So now consider over here, for your reference I have prepared a table. For n equal to 1, possible values of L will be 0, that is nothing but the s orbital, and the ml value it will be minus L to plus L, that is minus 0 and plus will be 0 will be same. So it is only one orbit will be there in the ground state, and that is nothing but the 1s orbit. We know that it is only the 1s orbit will be there in case of an ground state of an hydrogen atom. Okay, if you consider for the second orbit, that is n is equal to 2, the possible values of L which can go from 0 to n minus 1, that is 0, and 2 minus 1 it will be 1. So for second principal quantum number there will be two orbital quantum numbers will be there, that is L is equal to 0 and L is equal to 1. L is equal to 0 corresponds to s orbit, L is equal to 1 corresponds to p orbit. Now depending upon the values of ml which can take from minus L to plus L, for s orbital, that is L is equal to 0, the value of ml it will be 0, and for L equal to 1, that is a p orbit, L is equal to 0, that is p orbit, value of ml it will be minus 1 to plus 1 including 0. So it is minus 1, 0, plus 1. So these are nothing but the px orbit, py orbit and pz orbit, which you call in your which you know from your lower physics classes. For next orbit, that is n is equal to 3, the values of L will be 0, 1, 2 and corresponding values of orbital quantum numbers leads to name of the orbit, that is s orbit, p orbit and d orbit. So s equal to 0 corresponds to ml is equal to 0. For p orbit, that is L is equal to 1 corresponds to minus 1 to plus 1 including 0, that is minus 1, 0 and plus 1. For d orbit, the value of orbital quantum number, that is L is equal to 1. So ml can take value from minus 2 to plus 2, that is minus 2, minus 1, 0, plus 1 and plus 2. So this way you can calculate for the fourth quantum number as well, for which L can take value from 0 to 3, that is 0 to n minus 1. So 4 minus 1 it will be 3, which corresponds to s orbit, p orbital, d orbital and f orbital. S orbital have only single ml value, p orbital have 3 suborbitals corresponding to ml equal to minus 1, 0 and plus 1. Similarly for d orbital there will be 5 suborbitals will be there, that is minus 2, minus 1, 0, plus 1 and plus 2. If you consider for f orbital, that is L corresponds to 3, so ml can take minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, plus 1, plus 2 and plus 3. So totally 7 suborbitals will be there for a given orbital, okay, given f orbital. Now if you consider what are these different orbital look like, this is a p orbital which is spherical in shape. The 3 p orbitals corresponding to ml equal to minus 1, ml equal to 0 and ml equal to plus 1, these are dumbbell in shape which are lying along the x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. For d orbital or for L equal to 2, we have considered that ml can have 5 different values, and these 5 different values are nothing but the 5 orbitals. These are nothing but the dxy, dyz, dxz, the dz square and dx square minus y square. These orbitals are given over here, and for a given f orbital we had seen that 7 different values of ml are there. For minus ml equal to minus 3, ml equal to minus 2, ml equal to minus 1, 0, plus 1, plus 2 and plus 3. So these values corresponds to each orbit, and these orbitals are given over here. So basically there will be one s orbital, there will be 3 p orbitals will be there, 3 p orbitals will be there, there will be 5 d orbitals, and there will be 7 f orbitals will be there. Okay. Now last quantum number is there, that is nothing but the spin quantum number. Now this spin quantum number will we can understand it in terms of the Stern-Gerlach experiment, but we have not discussed this Stern-Gerlach experiment yet. We will try to discuss this Stern-Gerlach experiment in our coming lectures. But prior to that, we will try to understand this. What is this spin quantum number is there? This spin quantum number is there when electron is, or we'll try to understand it in terms of the semi-classical picture. We know that electron revolves around the nucleus. At the same time, it also revolves about its own axis. Depending upon how electron is revolving, if it is revolving around the nucleus in clockwise direction and anti-clockwise direction, depending upon this, the spin of the electron has the quantum number associated with that, that is called as the spin quantum number, and which is denoted by a letter ms. This spin quantum number can take values plus half and minus half depending upon how the electron is precessing round about its own axis, how electron is revolving round about its own axis. Depending upon that, it can have plus spin and minus spin. As we know that angular momentum is a vector quantity, so this electron's electron angular momentum, it can have magnitude as well as the direction. So the spin quantum number, it has a magnitude plus half, and it can have a magnitude which is in the in direction to the applied magnetic field or in opposite to the applied magnetic field. So depending upon that, if this magnitude can have plus sign or minus sign. So the spin quantum number, it can have two values, that is ms equal to plus half or ms equal to minus half. So these are nothing but the 4 quantum numbers. Now we will try to calculate these 4 quantum numbers based on the conditions which we are having over here. So for n equal to 1, we have calculated n equal to 1 corresponds to L is equal to 0, that is a s orbital, and s orbital corresponds to ml equal to 0, and corresponding values of ms, that can be plus half or minus half. Means for a given state of n equal to 1, there will be one suborbital, that is s orbital. It can have two spin orientation, means the s orbital can occupy 2 electrons. Okay. Similarly, for next orbit, that is n equal to 2, you have two suborbitals, that is n equal to 2 corresponds to L equal to 0, that is nothing but the s orbit, and which corresponds to value ml equal to 0, that is and s orbit. And for this, you can have two possible spin orientation, that is plus half and minus half, and depending upon that one, you can have 2 electrons in the s shell. Similarly, for p orbital, if you consider the value of ml, it can be minus 1, 0 and plus 1, that is nothing but the px orbit, py orbit and pz orbit. Now depending upon the spin of the electron, which can be plus half and minus half, each orbital can occupy 2 electrons with spin plus half and minus half. So p orbital can have as p orbital has 3 orbitals, 3 suborbitals, and each can occupy 2 electrons. So this is 3 2s are 6. So total capacity of the L equal to 1, that is p orbital, it has 6 electrons. So 6 electrons in p orbital and 2 electrons in s orbital, total 8 electrons it will be there in the n equal to 2 orbit. Similarly, we can calculate for this one. For n equal to 3, you have the possible values of L, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, which corresponds to s orbital, p orbital and d orbital. S corresponds to L equal to 0, which leads to ml equal to 0. Okay, so basically that will give rise to two possible state. So s orbital can occupy 2 electrons. P orbital has L equal to 1, so it can leads to ML equal to -1, 0 and +1, which leads to plus half and minus half spin quantum number. So 3 suborbitals with plus half and minus half, so totally 6 electrons can be occupied in the p orbital. And for d orbital, which corresponds to L equal to 2, which corresponds to ML value, that is -2, -1, 0, +1, +2, and this will lead to the value spin quantum number, that is plus half and minus half. So this will lead to the 5 into 2, that will be totally 10 electrons can be accommodated in the d shell. So s orbital can have a capacity of 2 electrons, p orbital can have a capacity of 6 electrons, and d orbital can have a capacity of 10 electrons. So 2 plus 6 plus 10, that will be 18 electrons will be there. So third orbit can occupy 18 electrons. Similarly, if we calculate for the fourth orbit, which will give the possible values of L, that is from 0 to 3, it will be S, P, D, F orbit. S orbital can have 2 capacity, P orbital can have 6 electrons capacity, D orbital can have 10 electrons capacity, and F orbital it leads to -3 to +3, that will be total 7 suborbitals will be there. Each can have plus half spin and minus half spin, so 7 2s are 14. So F orbital has a capacity of 14 electrons. So 14 in F orbit, 10 in D orbit, and 6 in P orbit, 2 in S orbit. So 2 plus 6, 8, 8 plus 10, that will be 18, 18 plus 14, that will be 32. So that means for n equal to 4, you have 32 electrons capacity. So n equal to 4 principal quantum number, it can occupy 32 electrons in it. It can occupy 32 electrons in it. That's it for the today's session. I hope you people have understood how the electrons are distributed. In our coming lecture, we will discuss what is these quantum numbers, principal quantum number, orbital quantum number, magnetic quantum number, and spin quantum number can be used to write the electron configuration with the help of Apabu principle, Pauli's exclusionary principle, and Hund's rule. I hope you have understood today's discussion. If you have any doubts, you can write me in the comment section. I request all you people to please like the video, and if you are not subscribed the channel, I request all you people to please subscribe the channel and please share our channel to the your friends and colleagues. That's it for the today's session. We'll stop here for today's lecture. Thank you.